Since taking office, President Biden has overseen the distribution of more than 400 million vaccine doses, the return of 5.8 million jobs, and the creation of one of the biggest bipartisan infrastructure deals in U.S. history. But COVID is still circulating, inflation has spiked, and the partisan animosity is toxic. Biden's poll numbers have sunk. So we wanted to know how voters, particularly independent voters, feel about the president's handling of these issues. We assembled a group of self-described independents from Tennessee, Oklahoma, Indiana, Michigan, and Kansas, all of whom have voted for both Democrats and Republicans in past presidential and statewide races. So here now is our pulse of the people. The president's poll numbers have gone from, I think they were 49% approval rating on Inauguration Day. They've gone up as high as 52%. Now they're down to 42% at the last count. So what do you blame that on?
Yeah, I mean, he inherited some really difficult times. The pandemic, our economic situations, the dysfunction in Congress. It just is kind of dragging down, I think, Americans' opinion of what's going on. And as president, that onus rests on him.
Why don't you all just tell me what grade you would give President Biden today?
Oh, a B. A B. You know, it's been very unique after the insurrection and the Stop the Steal movement, which is really unprecedented in our history. And he's just maintained a certain level of sanity. And I applaud him for that.
I would say a B, between a B and a B minus.
And what's your reasoning?
Yeah, so I would definitely say that he has delivered on many promises, but some of them he has not. He promised when he was actually running on his campaign trail that he would wipe out $10,000 worth of student loan debt for every individual that had student loans. That has yet to come into fruition. So I am waiting for that to happen.
Yeah, I'd give President Biden a solid B+, maybe an A- if you catch me on a good day. I think he gets the blame for a lot of what happens or doesn't happen in our country. With the economy, we've been living in a pandemic for 2 years. We've got another variant on the way. We're all exhausted.
Okay, Elaine, what grade do you give President Biden?
Probably a C+. He has not shown the fiscal restraint that I would like to see. At the same time, he has done well at least trying to work in a bipartisan manner. One of the things that Biden has done really, really well is lead with integrity and with maturity and discipline.
I would probably go with a C- because he's definitely an improvement over the last administration. There's no doubt on that. But I've yet to see any meaningful addressing of our immigration issues. I've yet to see any meaningful, movement toward addressing the looming homelessness crisis that's coming.
I think I'd give him a solid B. Kind of like what Andy said. On a good day, maybe a B+.
Why not an A? Beth, what's keeping you from giving him an A?
There's been some bumps on, different stages of the vaccine rollout that I think there was just some poor communications.
Show of hands, how many of you think that President Biden could be handling coronavirus better? Okay, 2 of you think that he could have been. So, Amber, what could he do differently?
I think a lot of the problems are misinformation, and until that is addressed in a meaningful way, I don't think we're going to see a lot of progress.
But what could he do about misinformation?
I think you'd have to look at regulations for things like social media, have harsher penalties.
Elaine, what do you wish you were doing differently?
Staying out of it. I'm sitting here in Wichita, Kansas, and we are at most 50% fully vaccinated in my county. And what I see here in Kansas is I see people saying, well, if a Democratic president wants me to do it, then absolutely no, I'm not even going to consider it.
When you say he should have stayed out of it, I mean, what would that have looked like?
Turn it over to local physicians, to state health officers. Stop commenting, stop with the federal mandates, Anything that comes to Kansas as a federal mandate from a Democratic administration, or even for that matter, probably Republican administration, is going to be instantly just laughed at.
Beth, you're in Indiana. Do you agree with that logic?
So I'm going to speak from experience as a business owner who has a couple employees that will not get vaccinated. They are both young, and so they both feel like if they even got COVID, they probably would not get sick. And if you are vaccinated, you could still potentially spread the virus to other people. So why do they need to get the shot? They just feel like they don't need to get the shot. They're being selfish. And, and the more that people go at them, you need to get it, the more they kind of push back on, no, I don't think I do.
Let's talk about what you all think are the biggest issues right now.
I think the labor shortage problem, jobs not being filled.
I mean, we have over $1.73 trillion in student loan debt. So I would definitely say that.
I think our most immediate issue right now is homelessness.
I think the biggest issue facing America right now is the threat that our democracy faces. The two parties have a stranglehold, and I'm gravely concerned about what our democracy will have to go through next year, and if we'll make it.
I think the biggest threat is disinformation and misinformation. That really scares me.
Yeah, I think the biggest threat facing our country right now is partisanship. It's this partisan divide, this red team versus blue team. And if I'm on this team, I can't agree with anything that team says. It's tearing families apart. It's tearing communities apart. And I think that, like Andy said, this is the biggest, our democracy is at risk.
If the election were held today between President Biden and former President Donald Trump, would you still vote for President Biden?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Okay, so 5 of you would. What about you, Amber?
That's a Sophie's choice for me. If I had to choose between the two and there were no other options, I would vote for Biden, but I wouldn't be happy about it.
Yeah, I think that's interesting when you hear several of them say that the biggest problems are the disinformation and partisanship. Well, that colors everything. I mean, that colors, of course, the response to the pandemic, the economic challenges as well. Those two are paramount.
Absolutely. And I also thought it was really interesting to talk to them because every one of them had a different issue that they wish that President Biden were focused more on. And so you realize how challenging it would be to be president.